This is the Meta Quest 3S. Meta invited me to their headquarters in San Francisco. I can check it out for you in advance. The Meta Quest 3S is designed as a standalone headset. This means you can use it without an expensive PC, as all the computing power is already built in. It is essentially a completely self-sufficient gaming console that starts at $329, making it significantly cheaper and more powerful than the entry-level devices from other manufacturers. Meta continues on its path and has designed the Meta Quest 3S not only as a virtual reality headset, but also as a mixed reality headset. One important piece of information before we proceed: if you purchase a Quest 3 or a Meta Quest 3S by April, if you buy it in 2025, you will receive the game Batman Arkham Shadow for free after its release. You can find the purchase links that will additionally support me in the video description. Let's take a closer look at the Quest S from the outside. It is typically white, and while the casing is made of plastic, it appears to be more stable and of higher quality. The Quest S is once again delivered with a Y standard strap, which is somewhat more comfortable than that of the Quest 2, as the casing is 20% slimmer compared to the Quest 2. If you want to use the Meta Quest 3S for an extended period, I recommend either the original head straps from Meta or those from third-party manufacturers to increase comfort, as it can become quite uncomfortable during long gaming sessions. A huge advantage is that the sidearms have not changed compared to the Quest 3, so all head straps for the Quest 3 can also be used, and there are already quite a few available. Weighing 514 gr, the Quest 3S is approximately as heavy as the Quest 3 and is therefore one of the lighter headsets in the standalone VR category. The USB port for charging and data transfer is located in the left joint of the head strap. I find it quite unfortunate that they have omitted the 3.5mm headphone jack on the right hinge compared to the Quest 3. If you want to use headphones with a 3.5mm headphone jack, you will need a corresponding adapter for the USB-C port. On the underside of the headset, you will find the volume buttons and the new action button. This button is designed to easily switch between virtual reality and mixed reality. The 3 charging contacts on the bottom of the headset for wireless charging have been removed compared to the Quest 3. However, there will be a compact charging station for the controllers where you can also charge your Quest S via cable. I find the sound of Quest 3 to be good, and the spatial sound is very perceptible, just like with Quest 3. Unfortunately, I couldn't test the microphones, but I will address that in my detailed review here in the Zugstufe. Included are the 3rd generation Touch Plus controllers that we already know from the Quest 3 already. I find the tracking to be precise and with ultra-low latency, just like with the Quest 3. However, this is not the only way you can operate the Meta Quest 3S, as it also supports head tracking. This means that the cameras on the outside of the casing can recognize your hands and each individual finger, allowing you to use them for control. 2001. And that brings us to another exciting point, and what immediately catches the eye when looking at the Meta Quest 3S, namely the redesigned front, including the built-in cameras and sensors. Personally, I think it's not a good idea to redesign the front with every new headset. With the design of the Quest 3, a consistent layout could have been chosen that enhances the brand recognition of Meta Quest. We find a total of 8 cameras on the outside of the headset, 4 of which are infrared tracking cameras to track the controllers and properly locate the Meta Quest in the room. Then you have 2 sets of 4-megapixel RGB pass-through cameras that are qualitatively on par with the Meta Quest 3. And additionally, there are 2 infrared lights that calculate the depth of the room via software. With these sensors, the Quest S offers a color pass of 18 pixels per degree, which means that Meta is fully committed to mixed reality with the Quest S and does not make any compromises compared to the Quest 3. The only difference from the Quest 3 is that this one has an additional hardware depth sensor. However, in my test, I could not notice any difference in the depth perception of the room between the Quest 3 and the Meta Quest 3S. However, do not approach this pass-through with the wrong expectations. While it is usable, allowing you to orient yourself, read your phone or PC screen, and even experience spatial computing, it is clear that you are viewing your reality through cameras. Based on the lighting conditions, this can sometimes appear grainy. In defense of the pass-through, the significantly more expensive Apple Vision Pro is indeed better, but it plays in roughly the same league. Overall, the Quest 3S performs quite well. In terms of price, The Quest S is by far the most affordable and best entry-level mixed reality headset. But let's take a look under the hood. What does the Meta Quest S have to offer? When it comes to performance, M makes no compromises and incorporates the Snapdragon XR Gen 2 along with 8 GB of RAM in the Meta Quest S, just like in the Meta Quest 3. This chip offers approximately double the graphics performance of the chip in the Quest 2, which has been the entry-level device so far. In terms of performance, the Quest S is at the top of the standalone headsets, and this is true despite the price of $329 for 128 GB of storage, or $409 for 256 GB, which is my advice. Choose the storage capacity wisely here, as the storage unfortunately cannot be expanded later. This allows all games and apps to run smoothly, and it also supports graphically demanding titles such as Red Matter, Behemoth, and Batman Arkham Shadow. Of course, Bluetooth is also included, and you can use the built-in Wi-Fi to download games and apps or play PC VR games wirelessly on your Meta Quest 3S. Unfortunately, the short testing period was not sufficient to cover topics such as battery life, microphone quality, headset tracking, and the controllers outdoors, among many others. I will report on this in my detailed review after the official release of the Meta Quest S. Before we address one of the biggest weaknesses of the Meta Quest S, we must at least briefly touch on one of its essential strengths. What good is the best VR headset if there is no software or games available? And here, Meta sets a good example. The Meta Horizon Store is unmatched in terms of the scope and sheer quality of its games and apps. The firmware is also continuously improved through updates and optimized for topics such as spatial computing, multitasking, and gaming. However, many will rightly ask, you told us at the beginning that there are also disadvantages. So far, you have only told us about the positive aspects, and you are absolutely right. But we are far from done. Now let's talk about the part of the VR headset that VR users come into contact with first, namely the inside, which consists of lenses, displays, and face cover. The interpupillary distance is adjustable in 3 levels, covering a range from 58 to 68 mm. A glasses spacer is included for glasses wearers, which you can clip between the face cover and the headset, allowing you to comfortably wear your glasses while gaming. Even though no one would expect it at this price, it is worth noting that the Meta Quest S does not feature face or eye tracking. But how can Meta sell the Quest S at such a competitive price? And we need to talk about the displays and the lenses. The displays have a resolution of 1802 by 1920 for each eye with a refresh rate of up to 120 Hz. The refresh rate has a top value in the standalone VR sector, but the resolution indeed does not. In comparison, the Quest 3 has a resolution of 2064 x 2208. That is about 1 million more pixels per eye. That sounds like a lot, and it is indeed a lot, but we need to put it into perspective to understand it. The Quest 3 does not fully utilize its display potential, definitely in standalone mode. The base resolution at which the Quest 3 calculates its images is 1680 by 1760. So the display of the Quest 3 and even the Meta Quest S is much lower. I could get a bit more out of tools like the Quest Games Optimizer here, but you will never be able to use the full resolution with the Meta Quest 3 without a PC. And it is precisely this base resolution that the Meta Quest S can now operate with the built-in Snapdragon XR Gen 2, so that while on paper the displays have a lower resolution, this is hardly noticeable during standalone gaming. And this is not just a theoretical example. I can confirm this from my own tests as well. For example, Batman Arkham Shadow looked absolutely identical on the Quest 3 and the Meta Quest S, such as. Thus, the displays represent a downgrade compared to the top model of the Quest 3, but they fit much better with the performance capabilities of the installed chip and the intended use as a standalone headset. The same goes for the pass-through, which has an 18 ppd recording quality that can be displayed in full quality by the 20 ppd displays. Therefore, I could not notice any difference in the image between the Meta Quest S and the Quest 3 in my tests, at least in standalone operation. The situation is quite different with PC VR. Here, every pixel can be utilized for a significantly better image. The FOV, or field of view, is 96 degrees horizontally and 90 degrees vertically, which is a reasonable range for an entry-level device, but it is noticeably smaller than that of the Quest 3. Due to the LC display technology, the black levels and contrasts are naturally not on the level of OLED or displays with local dimming, but Meta really uses solid LCDs with good color fidelity. Overall, the Quest 3 is clearly the worst choice if you want to play PC VR, but in my opinion, it hits the sweet spot between price and performance for standalone. Considering the current chip performance in combination with the pass-through quality, the display downgrade can still be managed quite well. However, what is truly noticeable are the Fresnel lenses. Newcomers who put on the Quest 3 for the first time will probably not even notice. And to be honest, many people have a huge amount of fun with a Quest 2 or a PSVR 2. Both headsets also use Fresnel lenses. And yes, the Fresnel lenses from Meta are among the best on the markets. However, anyone who has looked through the large and clear pancake lenses of the Quest 3 will immediately feel the difference. The Fresnel lenses also have another consequence. The casing of the Quest 3S is about 1 cm thicker than that of the Quest 3. However, I don't believe this will lead to a loss of comfort. As in my tests, the comfort of the Quest 3 was really quite similar to that of the Quest. And, to be honest, people usually end up getting an Elite strap or an Elite battery strap anyway, which increases comfort and reduces front heaviness. But yes, in the sold standard version with the elastic strap, the comfort is slightly worse than that of the Quest 3, but it's really not worth mentioning. But I believe this is the time when we need to speak frankly. The Quest 3 is a VR headset with excellent performance, great lenses, and outstanding displays. The fact is, however, that it has sold significantly worse than the Quest 2, which incidentally also used Fresnel lenses. This was primarily due to the considerably higher price. Those who simply wanted to try out VR have continued to reach for the Quest 2, and that's exactly where the Meta Quest S aims to make its mark. At the end of the day, we must ask ourselves whether it is about chasing the latest high-end technologies, or about enabling as many people as possible to access this fascinating technology. The Meta Quest S may not definitely be the upgrade that long-time VR enthusiasts have hoped for. Perhaps it is exactly the VR headset that makes virtual reality more accessible due to its price. Perhaps the Meta Quest S is the VR headset that sparks the crucial spark of interest due to its performance. Maybe it is exactly what we just need to catapult VR into the mainstream. Maybe. Perhaps this video has also sparked your interest in the Meta Quest 3. If so, you should definitely check out this video next.